Hey everyone, checking in on day 2 of NHL free agency. So we're going to go over some of the latest news that I didn't cover in my video earlier, and also Leafs and Sens. There's a lot of rumors on both those teams, the Battle of Ontario, on moves they made today and moves they could make. So if you're a new subscriber, welcome. I hope you do hit that subscribe button, give the channel a chance, hit that like button, hit the notification bell, all that good stuff. So news out there. Brian Dumoulin got traded from the Kraken to the Ducks, so that's like the Ducks' attempt to get closer to the cap floor. Cheap, he can fill minutes. Pierre-Olivier Joseph, that's pretty cool. Matthew Joseph and P.O. Joseph reuniting as brothers in St. Louis. There you go, that's pretty cool. Cam Atkinson, good bargain bin hunting by the Lightning, as much as we talked about the criticism and stuff. Cam Atkinson at $900K is pretty cheap. Shane Pinto, there you go, Sens fans. There's a lot of rumors even in the free agency stream that I was covering. You talk about like the rumors of a trade request, the rumors of a stalemate. Well, that's just done. 2 years, $3.75 million per. Really good deal for Shane Pinto. Guys, stick around to the video. I'm going to talk about what the Sens could do next. I think they could make a big move. Then you look at the Leafs. Dakota Mermis, Philippe Myers. So the Leafs have signed guys that are like big. Like Dakota Mermis is 6 foot, but he's like 200 pounds. Philippe Myers is like 6'6", right shot defenseman. He was with the Bolts organization. He's only 27 years old. I still think there's some untapped potential there. Like nothing more than a bottom pair guy, but played heavy minutes in the AHL, played a stretch of games with the Lightning last year. Jansen Harkins with the Ducks. Adam Juracek gets his entry-level deal with the Blues. And this one is potentially the steal of free agency so far, guys. Like Nate Schmidt for only $800K is crazy. Like he could fill into a top 4 role if need be on the Panthers. Probably won't need to be, but at the end of the day, that's a pretty big steal for either a 4th or 5th defenseman on the Florida Panthers. So, and I think he loved playing for Paul Maurice. I think that's a huge fit. Big dubs to the Panthers on that one and Nate Schmidt. And the Panthers, they just won the cup. So I've continued to call them winners. They continue to be winners right here. So, guys, let's go over some other conversations with the Sens, Leafs, all free agent news, my ratings, all that stuff. So, pulling this up from Matthew's fan. So, if you guys look at the potential Marlies defense group, like look at some of these, like the size. Philip Myers, like Cade Weber, like Trey Living, and also bring in Zita's tweet here. Trey Living's bringing in some big boys. Like Hakanpää, we'll see, because there's a lot of rumors right now that Hakanpää, guys, is not going to play. Like this signing is already up in the air because, and I talked about it on the free agent stream. That's why people were like, John, why are you complaining about 1.5? I was saying it better be around like $1 million because I knew there was injury issues and I knew there was certain uncertainty about him playing. He was injured during the season. He didn't play at all in the playoffs. A lot of people around him think he might not play again because of his knee injury. So, but still, Hakanpää 6'7", Stoller 6'6", Ekman Larson 6'2", Tanev 6'2", Mermis 6 foot, Myers 6. So there's a lot of guys coming in that are 6'5", 6'6", 6'7", which is crazy. Like that's not a common height, but Trey Living's bringing in these guys. So let's talk about some potential moves the Leafs can make. I talked about this yesterday on the stream, and I want to talk about this further. So the Leafs have already made some moves. The Sens have already made some moves. But I think there's more to come for the Leafs. So this was a trade scenario that I had, 2 trade scenarios. So I was going to make a video like 3 trades the Leafs could make, but I want to just keep spitballing the way I have. So Colorado, there's a lot of rumors that they're going to trade Ross Colton. They need to create cap space. There was some other moves out there that so Colorado obviously brought in Eric Brandstrom cheap. Vegas brought in Victor Olofsson for like 1 year, $1 million. Like there's some cheap contracts being handed out to fill roster spots. But Colorado is one of those teams that needs to fill spots and also still create space. So Jarnkrok, Liljegren would be about $5 million combined coming in, and Colton and Miles Wood would be about 6.5 going out. That's 1.5 of value cap space for Colorado. I think Toronto might have to add like a pick or prospect there, but I think when you talk about production, Miles Wood and Jarnkrok both had about the same point production. And I think when you look at Liljegren versus Ross Colton's that ready third liner, where Liljegren's that potential to be a top 4 defenseman if in the right situation. I feel like Colorado could be the team to unlock that. But at the same time, they already have Makar and Manson on the right side, so there'd be no expectations. You could have a bottom pair of like Brandstrom and Liljegren. Try the Swedes out together. Flyers trade. There's a lot of suggestions out there that the Leafs could trade for a Morgan Frost or Scott Lawton, that the Flyers have had heavy interest in Nick Robertson. There could be a fit there. And then there's a lot of rumors to suggest that the Leafs could be dumping one of, or if not both, Ryan Reeves and Connor Timmins. The Reeves experiment was good at times last year, not good at times. But the Connor Timmins days in Toronto look like they are coming to an end potentially. So this would be a potential lineup with that scenario. I think that looks really good. That looks playoff ready. That's really deep and positive cap space. Defense core would look all right, but I do have another scenario, and I'll bring it down here. Again, it's not looking likely, guys. I sent out a tweet. I don't think Marner's going to get traded based on the conversations right now, but it makes so much sense. I sent out a tweet talking about if you were to trade in Vegas's perspective, William Karlsson and Shea Theodore, and get Mitch Marner back, you could still have a lot of potential of doing something special. So this is the point I was making. If you're Vegas, you trade for Marner, give up only William Karlsson and Theodore. You also get Robertson and Timmins. That's a separate scenario. Forget the trades I just had on the board. You could still have something pretty special if you're Vegas. And that's positive cap space. You created cap space with that trade, especially if you send the guys down that are extra cap. There's potential there. There is definitely potential there. And then there's this with Mitch Marner where they're talking about how the Leafs sold to Jeff Skinner that, you could play with Matthews and Marner, and Jeff Skinner picked Edmonton anyways. If you're selling that point the way Jeff says here, it's probably the fact that they want to keep Mitch Marner, which, again, Craig Berube already expressed he wants to coach the player. It's ridiculous, guys. I've been on the freaking wagon of saying those trade conversations of Mitch Marner should have been very much more stronger back in 2021 after the Habs ghost performance from him. 3 years later, and we're still debating on Marner staying. It's not just a Marner thing. It's a culture thing. You're not going to trade this almost 70-goal scorer. You're not going to trade William Nylander, who you just extended. John Tavares. Not only is he not going to waive, he's the potential of signing a cheap deal as soon as next year, right? Tavares hasn't been nearly as productive as Stammer. Stammer just got $8 million to go to a different team. He probably would have taken $6 million per year with Tampa. I think Tavares will definitely be under that, being less productive. I could see Tavares making anywhere from $4 to $5 million per year. That's huge. The cap will rise. You have John Tavares, who will still be a 50, 60 point guy, making $4+ million. That'd be huge on the cap. So that's why you're not looking at those three guys. You're looking at Mitch Marner, who's going to command more money on his next contract. I think that's a reasonable conversation. And again, going back to Hakanpää, there's a lot of rumors right now suggesting that he will not play again. Steve Simmons was talking about it. Other people were talking about it. There's conversations here. And then the other similar trade scenario, instead of Scott Lawton, it'd be Morgan Frost. Maybe you have some fun bringing Alex Nylander, unite the Nylander brothers together, and you could have a lineup like this. Just Flyers retain 50% of Ryan Johansson. You do a Ryan Johansson Kampf swap maybe, or maybe you don't move Kampf and you have Kampf on that fourth line with McMahon and Holmberg. It's another option. Or you don't trade Marner at all, as I said, and you still trade with Vegas, and you try to package a bunch of intriguing pieces to get Shea Theodore. Maybe there's a chance Vegas and Shea Theodore can't come to a contract agreement. He's eligible for an extension right now. There hasn't been talks, at least that I'm aware of. Again, that could change tomorrow when he signs an extension. But if you could package a second or first round pick, maybe a prospect, Robertson, Liljegren, and get Shea Theodore, and your defense all of a sudden could look like that. Riley, Tanev, McCabe, Theodore, Ekman Larson, Benoit, you are laughing. That could be huge. But then there's also the scenario of what we've talked about last season. Toropchenko is a beast, 6'6". There's been a lot of suggestions that Craig Berube's type of player. He liked coaching him in St. Louis. Parayko would be a perfect fit in the top four as well. If you could package picks, Robertson, Liljegren, Yarncrow, convince St. Louis in the sense that you're getting younger. St. Louis is retooling. You can get rid of that Parayko contract without it being a cap dump, because I think in a couple of years it could become that. And you're only retaining $1 million, and you get some good assets. Nick Robertson can jump into their top 6. Liljegren can be in their top 4. And then you get other assets. I think there's potential there. And then you're looking at that defense group. Riley, Tanev, Ekman-Larsson, Parayko, Benoit, McCabe. In the scenario where the Leafs acquire Parayko, in the scenario where the Leafs acquire Shea Theodore, that could make worlds of difference, guys. I think they need one more guy to complement the top six, and then I'm feeling confident about these players' ability to feed it to the star players and the ability to shut down the opponents in big moments. Parayko, size. Ekman-Larsson, size and puck mobility. Tanev, size, defensive structure, shot block, beast. And then Benoit McCabe, that was the most consistent pair for the Leafs last year, ends up being your bottom pair. Like, are you kidding me? That could be really nice for the Toronto Maple Leafs. Let's go to the Ottawa Senators, guys. Josh Norris trade potentially. I think there's conversations to be had here. He's a Michigan native, played college, all these things Michigan related. He could get traded somewhere else. I think the Sens are getting frustrated with his injury history here. He's in his mid-20s now. He missed almost half the season last year again. Maybe it's time for Ottawa to get a nice package. Johnny Berggren, who's got a lot of potential. Robbie Fabry, who's half a point per game guy. And a second-round pick. Then you sign a bunch of depth guys. Daniel Sprong, JVR, Nick Cousins. And I think Ottawa could look pretty nice. 23-man roster, positive cap space. Brady Tkachuk, Timmy Stutzlet, Claude Giroux, James Van Riemsdyk, Shane Pinto, Drake Batherson, Robbie Fabry, Greg Perron. Great top nine. And then Sprong, Cousins, Amadio. It's a really productive fourth line. Then the defense group. I like that defense group a lot for Ottawa. So Ottawa could still do some more, but I think they have to move a contract. I think the conversations in the past have been maybe it's Batherson, but I think with Josh Norris's injury history and the fact that you have center options now of Shane Pinto and Ridley Gregg, I think you consider trading Josh Norris. Let me know what you guys think. So much news, so much to talk about. I could go through so many different teams. I will go through so many different teams. More videos to come. So I hope you guys subscribe, like, comment, notification bell. We will see you on the next video. Peace.